It's an irreversible cessation. So this has been explained on page 106, and I've already spoken about it. So now all you need to do is read it. I hope it'll be clear. Vada, did you raise your hand? Never mind. Okay. All right. And then there's another type of nirvana, or another type of cessation, I could say, where you talk about nirvana with remainder and nirvana without remainder. You may have heard this word before, an arhat with remainder and an arhat without remainder. Actually, when you talk about nirvana with remainder or nirvana without remainder, both is the truth of cessation. Both is an analytical cessation. But remainder just means that even though an arhat has attained a cessation of the root ignorance and all the afflictions, there still remains something that is in the nature of suffering. That is the body. The body is still left, because the body is still contaminated. It's still a product of previous karma and afflictions. So as long as they still have the body, there's still the possibility to experience disease, for example. So that karma, they no longer accumulate new karma, but they can still experience sickness. Now, would they mentally suffer? No, absolutely not. There would no longer be a mental suffering, but they could still get a cold. Yes?
So this is the nirvana that you reach in the paradise? Okay, because you must have no body.
You have a body. You do have a body.
Not this nirvana, without.
Okay. So, no. The nirvana with remainder you attain first. So first you attain the nirvana with remainder, and then the one without.
But you don't have the body when you have without.
Yeah, because the body died.
So this is what they talk about, the bardo?
No, not the pardo. Not at all. Nothing to do with the pardo.
No, but they say you can reach nirvana in the bardo.
No, you're talking about tantra, and you're talking about enlightenment. We're not talking about enlightenment here. We're talking about only liberation. Here, nirvana refers to the mere elimination of the afflictions.
So when it happens, the result will be if you should have no 5 aggregates.
Okay, let me just say, this has nothing to do with tantric practice, number one. I don't think there's anyone it's impossible to merely become liberated by doing tantra. It's impossible. Why is it impossible to become merely liberated without going on to become enlightened by practicing tantra? Why is that impossible?
The intention. Tantra is practiced with the intention for enlightenment.
You can only practice tantra with the intention to become enlightened. You cannot practice tantra, or you cannot make it effective with the motivation to only become liberated. Right? Leora, what did you say?
No, I heard because we mix the analytical experience.
But with the tantric practice is based on the sutric practice, and being based on the sutric practice means analysis must be there. Because the emptiness you realize when you practice tantra is the same emptiness you realize in the sutric system. So practicing tantra is only possible if you've practiced sutric practices before, and you can only realize emptiness with the techniques that are described in the sutric system. In tantra, you have no specific practice or no technique described that is different from the sutric system with regard to realizing emptiness. So realizing emptiness has to be always done according to the sutric system. But with regard to liberation, so here we're talking about a person, let's say they only attain liberation. Now, if you...
I was asking what form,
Uh-huh.
you talk about a person.
Yes.
What form
Uh-huh.
you have when you have a nirvana without residue? Because it said you have to get rid of the 5 aggregates.
No, okay. Let me first explain. First, you have the 5 aggregates. Can you newly attain nirvana without the 5 aggregates? No.
No. So why it's nirvana without the aggregates?
Okay. Wait. Okay. First, yes. Go ahead.
The living arhat is with remainder, and the dying arhat is without.
A dead arhat is a... instead of dying, a dead arhat. Okay, as Nissim said, a nirvana with remainder refers to an arhat who's alive, and a nirvana without remainder is a dead arhat. But I mean, what does it mean? I mean, he's right, but it just sounds really funny. Let me just explain first. Sorry, let's make sure there's no So let's say, okay, Sippy becomes an arhat. Okay, so Sippy decides she wants to become liberated. She works really hard, and in 2021, she becomes an arhat. Now she attains the truth of cessation. With this body, absolutely. With this present body, she attains the truth of cessation. Now, will her present body live forever? Why not? The projecting karma that projected her into her human rebirth has an expiry date. Right? It comes with a maximum lifespan. So basically, you know, I mean, she wouldn't experience the merit would not. She wouldn't run out of merit to stay alive, and she wouldn't have a life obstacle. Well, she could actually still. Oh, you can still experience. You can still die prematurely, even as an arhat. It's possible actually, because there's still physical karma that can ripen. So she could die prematurely for whatever reason. But if she doesn't die prematurely, at some point the expiry date is over, and Sippy the arhat will die naturally. Now, Sippy, initially the cessation that she attained was the truth of cessation with remainder. The first time one attains the cessation of an arhat, it will always be the truth with remainder. Here, Hinayana, I'm talking about from the point of view of attaining only self-liberation. It will always be a truth of cessation with remainder. But then you will naturally die. And then the truth of cessation is no longer called a truth of cessation with remainder, but without remainder. So it's basically just saying you always become an arhat with a body, and then one day you die. The body goes away. And then when you're without the body, there's no longer a remainder. Now, Sippy could ask, why talk about that? It's the truth of cessation. Come on, you have a remainder or not. It's just saying you have extra luggage. First, you still have extra luggage. And then you throw away the last kind of last luggage. So you're still within samsara.
And you go into the bardo?
Pardon?
So you die, you go into the bardo?
How can you go through the pardo? What did I say earlier about the pardo? The projecting karma. So since there's no new projecting karma that ripens, you have no new pardo associated with that next rebirth. So there won't be any pardo. You're gone. You're done. In the form? In the formless? How can you be in any of them? Those are samsaric realms. Where is their consciousness? Well, you're talking like as if this world, that samsara was like a place. Where is your samsara? This is your samsara. This world is not samsara. Otherwise a Buddha would be in samsara. His Holiness the Dalai Lama, if he's a Buddha, there'd be a Buddha who lives in samsara. It's impossible. Samsara is not a place. Samsara is your mind and body, which is a result of karma and afflictions. So if you don't have that, you could still be in this world. This world is not samsara. But it's not easy, because we say this world is the truth of suffering. What do you mean with this world? My world is the truth of suffering. The Dalai Lama's world is not a truth of suffering if he's a Buddha. So it's a little difficult. We have a sense there's an objective world over there, but there isn't. There's my world and there's your world. My world is samsara. My experience of this environment is a truth of suffering. If Sippy is now an arhat, then she still sees this. There's no reason why she doesn't. But it's no longer, so even if she has died, she can still perceive this world. Her mind can still perceive this. But for her, what she perceives is no longer a truth of suffering. Because what she perceives is not the result of karma and afflictions. I cannot produce anything. My karma and afflictions cannot produce anything for her, and hers are gone. And it shows again, there's no objective world. Yeah? There's no objective world. There's here, in this room, why not? It could be in this room. Maybe Tsippy decides to travel the world. I'm kidding. Now she's got the time. I don't know. They don't really speak about what is the consciousness. Can you be, like, they say a Buddha's mind is everywhere. They don't say an arhat's mind is everywhere. So a Buddha's consciousness can be anywhere. But they don't really say that about the arhat's mind. So I'm not sure, can the arhat mind be anywhere or not? I'm not sure. Probably not.
How does it take a form of a body?
Good. How does it, can it take a form? Then, because there's still work to be done. You still want to become a Buddha. So to be a bodhisattva, you need a body.
That's a rebirth.
No, you take on a mental body. You intentionally take on a body. You can create, the mind can create the energy with...
Biography of a human being.
Pardon?
It has a narrative of a human being for us.
Yes, but it's not a samsaric being. It just looks like one.
Of course, but it acts and walks like one.
That's true. So true. She's very right. She's totally right. So the manifestations of Buddhas, even Buddha Shakyamuni, looked like a guy, walked like a guy, walked like a human being, just wasn't one, was an emanation. So being human doesn't necessarily mean you're a samsaric being. Does that make sense? Yeah, I know it's a little weird and a little mystical and weird, but...
We said that you first become arhat with remainder.
So first you become an arhat with remainder.
Does it mean that you can only attain arhatship in the human realm, not in formless?
Ah, you can also attain, not in the formless realm, no. Oh, wait. Can you attain arhatship in the formless realm? I think you can. Then you have an arhat without remainder. Yes, you're right. Truth of cessation, you're right. So I need to think of there's like a topic called the 20 arhats. No, the 20 sangha. And in there are different kind of scenarios described, how you can become liberated. It's one of the topics we study. But I'm not going to teach these rounds. I'm not going to do a weekend on the 20 arhats or the 20 sangha. But anyway, so we study this, and there are some who become enlightened in the become liberated in the formless realm. So they don't have a body. But in the tantric system, you would have to say there's still a subtle energy. Maybe. No, but even the subtle energy, would that just be that of a mental consciousness? So no, you could attain in the formless realm, you could attain right from the beginning, truth of cessation without remainder. Yes, or nirvana without remainder, right from the beginning. But would you still be in the formless realm? But you would still be in the formless realm. You would still be in the formless realm until the time expires. You have to say there's no remainder really, but there's still the karmic force. The karmic force is still not active, yeah.
Isn't the Buddha died from food poisoning?
That's what it looked like. But actually the Buddha didn't die ordinarily. That's what it looked like. So there's always a difference between what the Buddha manifested for the benefit of others. But actually that was not the cause. It's just you see, when we talk about what the Buddha, wasn't the Buddha born? Didn't the Buddha do this? Didn't the Buddha become enlightened under the Bodhi tree? No. He was already enlightened before. He just manifested that aspect.
I mean, I understand that like this life of the Buddha is just the manifestation of an enlightened mind.
Mm-hmm.
One point.
Oh yes, but just not in the Bodhi tree, underneath the Bodhi tree. I mean, maybe, no, I don't think so. I don't think the Buddha became enlightened underneath the Bodhi tree, but that's how he manifested. So there's different versions. There is, in some systems, they accept that the Buddha did become enlightened in this lifetime. But honestly, I mean,
At some point.
he did, yes, but not in the life as Buddha Shakyamuni. So for some people that may be new, it's like, what? What is the whole thing about the Bodhi tree then? Well, it's just showing that this is possible. I mean, come on. From an ordinary person, you sit a night underneath a Bodhi tree and you become a Buddha? It's a little harder than that.
Yeah, but the end, he did the end.
Yeah, but they do say you went through the path of preparation and the path of seeing. It takes much longer than one night.
Yeah, this is true, but only under the body tree did the...
No, but he did go through the path of preparation, the path of seeing. So that is said to take a long time, not just one night.
He did it in the night, this night or this past.
Yeah, he sat down in the evening. By dusk and by dawn he was enlightened. Come on, that's a little short, right? I mean, this is kind of like we say them. He manifested enlightenment. He showed for us how it's done, but actually he was already enlightened before. That's from the point of view of the Nalanda or Mahayana tradition, the Buddha was already enlightened. So therefore he just manifested enlightenment. He manifested sickness. So he didn't actually die of sickness. People's karma was exhausted to have the Buddha around, and so he went on. Is the Buddha still around? Of course he's still around. Of course he's still around. It's not like the Buddha worked so hard to become enlightened. Of course, underneath the Bodhi tree, he did the last steps, and saying he reached the path of seeing, the path of meditation underneath in one night. That's too short. That's not one point. But before it said that many, many lifetimes he worked hard to get to where he got to. And then only to live for 45 years and then gone? That's too short. So from a Buddhist point of view, the Dalai Lama, His Holiness, sometimes says this. The idea that the Buddha, after he passed away, was gone, that doesn't make sense. He worked so hard and then have only 45 years to teach? No. The Buddha's still there. He just manifested death, but still around. I know it's a little, but to tell you the truth, that's it. Okay, anyway. So nirvana with remainder, nirvana without remainder. So I hope this is clear. They are asked a good question about what about a person in the formless realm. So with nirvana without remainder, what would that be? I need to think about it. I'm not sure. I never wondered about that.
And can you say that what I asked you yesterday with the difference between nirvana and parinirvana?
Ah, okay.
Nirvana would be like with remainder, and parinirvana, no.
Without remainder? I mean, parinirvana has two meanings. I mean, parinirvana can mean when the Buddha passed away, he passed into parinirvana, but that's just a nice way of saying he died, right? Or in an honorific way. But actually parinirvana, as in like the great nirvana, it would actually be maha nirvana.
Para is next.
Pardon?
Is beyond.
It's next. Like when you miss.
Huh?
Like a vein, and then you say.
Para.
Went far.
Beyond.
Like
Nick. Yeah. Para is in a beyond or yeah. But anyways, so the point is here that I don't know really how the word parinirvana translates into Tibetan. We talk about great nirvana. So that would be Mahanirvana, I guess, great nirvana. So Mahanirvana, I'm not sure what parinirvana really means. The word, I'm only familiar with the word parinirvana when saying the Buddha passed away. The Buddha passed into parinirvana. So I don't think you're talking about that. If you talk about great nirvana, that's enlightenment. Now, enlightenment, you never become enlightened with an ordinary body. That's impossible.